Hey everybody, and welcome to the Harrison County Library System's online computer classes. My name's Jeff Conwell and I work up here at the Orange Grove Public Library. If you ever have any questions, please come up and visit, or you can drop me a line at g.conwell@harrison.lib.ms.us or librarydude1999@gmail.com. Well, today's class is the second part of our Microsoft Excel class that we were doing last time. And we're going to look at some formulas, but before we begin that, I want to show you some of the top uses of Microsoft Excel. Why do people use it? Why are these businesses so crazy about it? Well, it's really good for analyzing and storing data. It eases the workload. You've got easy data recovery, and you can, of course, make the spreadsheets. It uses mathematical formulas to make things easier, like addition, subtraction, getting percentages, and taking that data and doing something with it. Security is actually its top use, and it adds sophistication to data presentations with the graphs, with the bar graphs, pie graphs, and all that. The online access that you can get from Office 365. It keeps data combined at one location, and it helps to develop further strategies. When people can see what direction their company is going by looking at the data in such a graphic way, it helps them visualize what they need to do to change or to improve themselves. And also, it's a good way to manage expenses. And one of the things that we're going to do today is learn how to make a budget with Microsoft Excel. Okay? Well, the first thing I want to do is we are going to minimize this screen here, and we're going to look side by side at some formulas, essential Excel formulas. I'm going to minimize the screen, and I have an open Excel worksheet right next to it. Okay, this is going to be your simple sum formula, which is, remember last time I said that all Excel formulas start with an equal sign, okay? Then you have an open parenthesis, and when you finish your argument, you put a closed parenthesis. And one of the things you'll have to notice about the synthesis of it, the syntax of it, instead of saying 5 plus 5, it's going to give me 5 comma 5. Or you can use the cell reference for two different numbers and put A1 and B1. And then if it's a cell range, you can put A1 through B5. The through means is a colon, okay? The plus would be just the like the minus sign. So if in the example right here, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it by taking my slider bar and zooming it in real good for you, okay? This is A and B. If I did 5, and then 5, and then in column C, I'm going to put equals sum, equals sum, got to put the function in there. And notice that when you do that, they will give you different variations on this so where you can know what you want to do. And I'm not going to go into all of these, but we're just doing your basic stuff. Don't forget again about the universal class, that e-service that the Harrison County Library System offers you. If you take this class, I assure you this will definitely be one of the best things you've ever done for yourself, is if you want to really learn about Excel, okay? You got an accredited teacher, you take tests, they got homework. You know, I'm just basically, when you come into my classes here, I give you an assignment, we play with it, and then, you get the direct help, but it's nothing like, when you're in school. I want to just get your fingers or your toes wet with Excel to where you're comfortable going into it, okay? But let's go back to what we're doing. We're just doing a simple sum, and I'm going to say In this case, I open the parentheses. Now watch what I'm doing here is I'm clicking on the first one is this A1, and then I'm going to put B1. I have to put the comma in to give it to the other reference. Notice here you got the sum with the number 1, number 2, and all of that. So I'm going to do that, and I put B1, and I close the parentheses, and I hit enter, and it gives me the number. I could just as easily, because sum is one of the basic functions that most people do, I could do it another way. Let's do 4 plus 22, and then I could, in this box, put on the formulas and just say Autosum. Notice it's already got in there, A2 to B2. So when I hit enter, it gives me the number. Now if I wanted to add these numbers below that, I can just click this and then put Autosum, and it gives me the numbers. I'm left clicking. Remember to choose the cell, and the cells are identified by the column and the row. So if I just say here, I'm left clicking and dragging it down, and I'm putting the Autosum, I'm just clicking on the Formulas tab where it says Autosum, and now I got that number. And then I got this number here, Autosum, and if I want to make a grand total, I can just do this and click Autosum. Okay, and then do that, gives me my grand total right here. So anyway, you get the picture. Okay, it allows you to add 2 or more numbers together. With this formula, you can use cell references as well, which is what we just did. Okay, now the next thing that we're doing is maximum and minimum. I'm going to use the same function here. Like I want to say, I want to show you, I feel like I want to make this to be a sales thing, okay? And I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert. Notice when I right click, it gives me a menu option. Insert, and a row comes above this right here, okay? Now I'm just going to be using these 3 columns, so I'm going to highlight all 3. And then I'm going to merge and center. You can't see it until I go, wait, hold on. Let me minimize it again. And I got to maximize my box out so you can see it. If I go to the Home tab, it says merge and center. I'm going to have to maximize the screen. Merge and center is right here. So I want to make this to be one box, okay? And I'm going to put in sales. And then I'm going to put another column in. I'm going to insert a column. And I'm going to say Smith. I'm hitting enter to get to the next one. The next cell. Jones and Quincy. Okay, now this is let me add yet another row in here. Insert row. Actually, I need to insert it above this row. Notice when you hit insert, the new column, row, whatever, it comes above or to the left of that where you're clicking. So if I want to make another row below sales, I have to click below where it says these numbers and I hit insert, and now I've got 3 different columns. So I want to put rep here, hit tab to go from left to right, not enter, because if I do enter, it's going to not do it right away, but it would go column down the column A. So I hit tab, and I'm going to put the month, September, and then hit tab, October, and then November, okay? And I'm going to just take out these being just let that to be sales instead of totals. Okay, I got to take the formulas out. And I'm just going to, whatever that number was, I want to use it, 10. Okay, I'm going to make that just to be the number 10 instead of a formula. So it's not going to try to calculate something. Call this 26. And now I'm going to take the formula out. I'm just highlighting the formula and writing over it, 36. Okay, so now I've got the columns and everything I want. And I can put totals here just like I did before and say what, let's do total sales, total. And then in this column, I'm going to go like I did before, highlight that, and I'll put the totals there by hitting formulas and Autosum. Hitting formulas and Autosum. Hitting formulas and Autosum. Okay, now I got my totals. So I want to put down now, find out what the maximum number, I could look at it and say 36, okay? But if I put the maximum in there, max sales, and then below this I'm going to put minimum sales. And all I want to do is put that max function in this box right here, in this cell right here. So I'm going to hit equals, because all formulas start with that equal sign. Say the word max, and then I'm going to open a parentheses, and I'm going to just left click, and I'm going to drag my mouse over all of this. Just these three. And then I'm going to say close parentheses. So that gives me the number 9. The minimum sales, the same thing. I'm just going to say minimum instead of maximum. Equals minimum. And I'm going to highlight these three. Close the parentheses. Hit enter. And gives me that. Now what I can do is drag this, because it's got the function in it, for the other ones, and I might get 27. Look at that. It gives me the maximum for all 3 months like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. And it gives me the minimum of sale for each month. So that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to, that is how you do maximum and minimum. And, okay, let's get to the next thing. Count. Count counts the number of cells in a range that have numbers in them. So what I need to do, if I want to highlight the whole thing and count the number of cells that got numbers in them for the ones I just did, I'm going to put the function here, count. I'm going to put, I might put number of sales, because it's going to have, well, not number of sales, never mind. I'm just going to put count so you can see the function. So this is going to be an example of count. And then I'm going to put that in parentheses. So this formula here is going to give me the total number of cells that have numbers in it. So I'm going to put equals count, and I'm going to open a parentheses, and I've got to see November too. So all I'm doing is I'm going to highlight these cells, and then I'm going to close the parentheses. Hit enter. It gives me 15. See, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These have got numbers in them for the sales. Actually, if I did the whole thing, it would be a different thing altogether. So if I take count out, take this, the range, this is called a range, when you got the B3 through D8. Now I can just enter in the last box right here, that's E8. So saying D8, I'm just going to type over it, say E8, close parentheses, hit enter, and it gives me 18 because I got the 3 totals in addition. So I've got all of this. And it's going to be the same thing if I highlight the whole thing. Instead of saying this, I'm just going to go click this whole thing up here. I got the whole table done up, and I'm going to hit close parentheses. It should stay close parentheses up, and it should still say 18, and there it is. So that's, if you want to count the cells that have actual numbers in them, you have to think of like if it had money, the amount of money's in it, so they can keep track. Anyway, let's get back to the next one. Let's see here. We're on the next formula is count A. This counts the number of non-empty cells in a range. So what I could do on this is I'm highlighting the whole thing. Let's go ahead and include this one. But I want to put count A, and it will count the number of boxes that have text in it. So if I go count A and then put here equals count A and then close parentheses, and now I'm going to highlight all of this up here and then close the parentheses. 31. Now if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and then 31. So I got 30 and 31. Everything that's got something, every cell that has something in it has been counted to be a total number of 31. Now, okay, so that's another function, count A. By the way, this listing of formulas is from a passage I read on the internet about a guy who they said that this had saved his job knowing these formulas. And the next one on the list is called len, and this formula counts the number of characters in a cell, including the spaces. So if I say len, just so we know what it is, and I go, I want to count the number of spaces in this particular cell, A3, and then I'm going to put this formula to be, I'm going to call this A3 so I know what cell it is, and then the formula for that is equals, and then say len, and then open parentheses, and then hit this, and then close parentheses, and that would give me the number of space. See, on that A3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the number of characters in it. And the next one on the list is trim. And trim formula gets rid of unwanted spaces in a cell except between words. It's helpful on shared workbooks. Let's see if I can find the one example that I had. Let's do, hold on a second. I may have it in here. Okay, say I've got a list emailed to me from a work colleague, and for some reason everything got all spaced funny. Well, I'm going to make a duplicate list on column C by clicking on this, on right here on what's that, cell number C1. I'm going to put the command, the function in, equals, and then open parentheses, or sorry, I forgot to put trim. Got to watch out about that syntax in Excel, okay? I hit trim, and then I put right next to it, open parentheses, and then I'm going to highlight everything from A1 down to A18. Okay, and then I close the parentheses and hit enter. It makes me another list. But notice I have the title, it's not merged and centered like that. I'm not worried about that right now, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, or I can just even hit copy. I'm gonna highlight everything, and then I'm gonna copy that. And I'm using the Office 365, by the way, with this. I'm gonna hit that, and then I hit paste. Oh, sorry. What happened is because it was trying to substitute for the table that back referencing to this table here. So what I have to do is keep the table. I can copy this. Let me do File and New. I'm getting a new worksheet. I can actually do it. It'd be easier if I just did a new worksheet instead of doing this right here. But okay, now that I got a new sheet up here, I'm just gonna use another sheet. And then I'm gonna hit paste. What happened? It referred back to this sheet here. Copy. And then in this column, hit paste. If it says the number, the hashtag, and then values, it's not going to work. But paste values, there I did. The reason why is because the values are referring to the way everything was set up with the trim function. So that came out better. Now I want to take this and merge it and center it and bold it out, and it comes all nice and neat. Now, one of the things, if you notice, the columns go back, even though it's written in column A, it still extends over column B. So if I want to, I can format the columns for these to be where it's automated. It's going to be formatted to fit it to the width, Autofit column width. So now it's got all the titles in there. And notice I actually don't even need to merge the B and A together. Unmerge cells, Okay. And then I want to go make this to be bold. Okay. So there it's all nice and neat. Trim is a great way to clean up stuff when you get it through another vendor or an email, whatever. And so that's a really good function to know. Okay, the next one on our list is, got a lot of presentations here. The next one on the list is right, left, and mid. Right gives you the number of characters from the right of a text string. Left gives you the number of characters from the left of a text string. And mid gives you the number of characters from the middle of a word. So if I did, so put the text in on the same sheet that I had up. Like I could put right here, let's see. Okay, I'm going to put right, left, and mid. Okay, and then I'm going to put this in here and say that's going to be my reference in A5. So right, put in this formula, right, the text, a number of characters. Wait, I didn't give it a formula, so we got to put in the formula right, referring to that. So the number of characters by default is going to go to the last one. So that gives me the Y is the last thing. So if I wanted to put to the left to get the Q in Quincy, I would actually use the left one and just say left. It's the leftmost character. Actually, you got to put the equal sign. And then open parentheses, refer back to this one, and then put close parentheses, and it's going to get Q. So that, and then the mid, same thing. Mid for an A5. And then put there is no middle character for that. It says you've entered too few arguments. So what happens if I did that one? Nope. The number of characters. If I put A7, let's go back this and put mid A5, comma 3, it's still not doing it. So anyway, let's do 2. Nope. Like I said, if you need help with this, you give, let's do that. Nope. Okay, mid A7. Nope. Nope. Okay. Well, trust me, it's a interesting thing to find out, because if you want to reference to a name, you know, or a character in it, you can use that right, left, and mid. Okay, Vlookup. This is going to be the absolute best, one of the best functions you've ever found out about Microsoft Excel. And let me show you why. Okay, now I found the data that I want to use for VLOOKUP. So what I'm going to do is the VLOOKUP formula, first of all, is equals VLOOKUP, and then in open parentheses, you put up the lookup value. Like we're going to look up on the right-hand side of the screen there, you'll see a list of order numbers. We're going to use the order numbers as our lookup value. And we want to put, using this whole table, we want to put the sales down next to that, next to the order number on a new worksheet. And the way we do that is first of all, I'm going to put in the field on this sales thing right here. This cell here is where I'm going to put the VLOOKUP formula. So I'm going to say equals VLOOKUP, and the means vertical, so it's that vertical column. So VLOOKUP, and they also have HLOOKUP, which is a horizontal column. But anyway, we're going to type in VLOOKUP. I'm going to open parentheses. Now I'm going to put what cell we're using, starting with the cell. And I'm going to go say in the source, VLOOKUP source is going to be A5. Okay, A5. And then the table array, you can click and drag. You have to put a comma in to indicate the next element. The table array is this whole order of data, this whole table of data. So I can click and drag from A5 all the way down to this right here. So that is data A5 to that is H19. Okay? And then I'm going to close parentheses, not close parentheses. I'm going to want the value that's in the 8th column. So if you look at the number of columns we got here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns. And then, so column 8. And then, and most importantly, you're given a thing to put up for if it's going to be true or false. And if you say true, you will get a near number, but if you put false, you get an exact number. And most times people want to put it's going to be what's called the lookup value, and you want it to be false, which means that it's going to be an exact number. So I'm going to close the parentheses, and then I come back. There's my formula. And what happens? It doesn't work because I need to put the array in, right? I think that's what happened. I'm going to take out that A5 2 colon, oops, 2 columns. H9, column 8, false. Now if I hit enter, hopefully I'll get the sales for that order number 1001. But it didn't work. So why didn't it work? Because I have two L's in Vlookup. That's probably it. Okay. Now, I got it's really tricky when you put in the formulas. If you don't do it right, you're going to get that value, that hashtag value thing. Let's see what happens now. No information. So what I'm going to have to do is do it again. I'm going to put the Vlookup value here and say equals Vlookup, and then I'm going to put open parentheses A5 and then comma the table array, which is, now to get to table, you can also name it something. So if I come down here and just highlight this whole column, and then I'm going to call this to be okay, let's look at this way. There we go. Data. And I'm going to call that data. So that's the name of the array that I did. Then when I come in here and I'm going to name the sales amount on here, and I'm going to say array, or sorry, data, that indicates that the whole range from A5 to H19 is what I'm referring to. I gave that data array a name. Okay? Now, when I hit enter, it should give me the sales. So I look back on my invoice, and there it is, $40. And I can format the column. If you notice, when I highlight the column, you go to the Home tab, and you see here where it says Format. And I can go down here to the bottom where it says Format Cells and change that into like a number. I can put in a number like that to 2 decimal places or more. By clicking, if I want to click more, I'll do that. If I want to put it in currency, it's like that. And then you can do with alignment, borders, and all that good stuff here. But anyway, we're going to leave it like it is and say OK. And the numbers are in 2 decimal places. So now, if I take on that second sheet, this formula that's been written incorrectly in this cell, which is B5, if this is called a fill handle. When it goes to the little arrows and there's nothing there, when I left click and drag down that same formula to look up the price of each of these, the sales amount, it's going to be calculated for each different one. So whatever the order, the sales amount is for 1,002, 3, all the way down to 15, it's going to be reflected from the data on the first worksheet. So watch. It's like magic. I drag down, and there's the amount. Is it 108 for invoice number 1002? Yeah, 108. And then 154, and then on and so forth. So that's a really cool thing to be able to do is Vlookup. And if I wanted to give it another value, like I'm going to put here, I'm going to add another, I'm going to add there, I want to put salesperson. So if I say salesperson, I'm going to format the cell like I did the other. I'm going to format that with the fill. Let's see if I can. Format cells. Oh, it may not let me do it because I'm not actually in that. Okay. Format cells, fill. I'm going to fill it with this color. And then the font is, I believe, this color. And here, I'm going to center that. Ooh, the text that's going in there. And I'm going to put sales rep. Okay, so now I've got the sales rep, and if I put this value in, like I did that one, but instead of I put the data, and instead of on column 8, let's look where the sales reps are. I'm going to put the last name of the column, the last name of the sales rep. So I'm going to put like Murphy. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So it's on column 3 instead of column 8. So I go back to my second worksheet and say, I'm going to copy this formula, I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm going to change that to 3. And let's see what happens. It turned to Murphy. I want to apply that formula. I just type it out again. But I wanted to copy this formula. And I'm going to paste it. Oh. The problem is what I'm doing when it clicks on C5, it's because I'm jumping to the next cell. I need to hit Tab to leave that formula in B5. But now I'm going to paste the same formula in C5 to get the sales rep name. So I hit Paste, but I'm going to change the column number to be the column with the last name of the sales rep. And when I do that, it's going to turn to Murphy. Okay, I'm going to center this. And now when I drag down, it's going to have everybody's with the person who had the sales rep for that particular invoice number and their sales. So I can input different types of data from one spreadsheet to another, from one worksheet to another, and that's pretty awesome. Okay, so these are just a few of the things that you can do. Let's just do finally one exercise, and that's going to be a budget. Okay. Okay, now we're doing a balance in a checkbook. So I'm going to name this Sure Balance Checkbook. Just start typing Sure Balance Checkbook. Okay, and I know it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to go all the way to G. To column G. So I'm going to merge and center this to put that right there at the top. Now below this, I'm going to skip a line. I'm going to put these descriptions of what it is. It's check number. So I put check number. And let me blow this up so you can see it better. Ooh. I got to get out of the cell in order to zoom. Okay, check number. And then I'm going to put up here, I'm going to put date. I'm going to hit the tab to jump to the next box. I'm going to put item description. I'm going to hit the tab. Notice that this one's going to be needing to be wider. So what I could do is do column C, because that's where item description is written. I'm going to put format column, automatic column width. And now it's wide enough to fit that in there. I can even center that right there. And then I'm going to put, in this column, I'm going to put debit. And then hit the tab, put credit. Then I'm going to put an X and F. And that indicates, I forget what it indicates. Anyway, put the balance in the next one. Okay, now to format these all in the center, I can just simply highlight everything and hit the center. And now if I want to make them bold because they're headers, I can do the same thing. Click on bold, and now I've got it ready to go. So I need to put some dates in here. So I'm going to put first box 1/30/21. And notice also I could format these by clicking on the column B, go to format, format cells, and I can put in as a date, and I can choose it to be like maybe like that instead. So 30 January. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to leave it like that. And the item description in the first one is going to go January paycheck. And then, also I want to center that. I have to click out of the cell in order to do that. And what happens if I write the whole thing out? Is that going to still be enough space? It will, but some of the descriptions are going to be longer, but I can adjust the column size as I go. Now, I know I want these two columns to be in monies, so I'm going to currency form. So I'm going to go to format cells, and say currency, and symbol, and they're going to be that. Do the same thing for this one. Format cells to be currency. Okay. And then I'm going to put in the balance column, I'm going to also put that in currency, of course. So now I've got them formatted. So I have to just input the data, the dates, the time, and the check number. So check number, let's see, the debit is going to be, the credit. We're starting out with the credit. I'm going to say 179 at $17.95.86. So 1795.86. When I hit enter, it's going to give me a $sign. But what happened? The column wasn't wide enough to for all the data. So all I need to do is, you remember how before I showed you where the arrows are on the left and the right, on the horizontal side of the little X? That means when I click on the border between the two columns, I can make it wider. And that's going to give me my amount. I probably will need to do the same thing for the debit. So I'm just going to extend that out too. And let's do the balance the same way. Okay, now I'm ready to go. Okay, in the balance bar, that's G4. I have to put this formula in that's going to calculate the debit and the credit together. But the first thing I'm going to do is say, what? Of course, I'm going to put the equal sign. And then I'm going to say D4 plus E4. Notice D4 and E4 are two different, the cell that I want to add together. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to say D4 plus E4. Okay? I could also hit sum and do that too. So when I hit enter, sorry, I didn't do that right, E4, not EF. So it gives me the amount and all that. What happened if I changed it to, that's just, you don't have to always put a function in there. You can also do the mathematics of it. But if I did this the way we were showing you earlier, I would do sum and then say comma, open parentheses, and say the first, that one, and then I'm going to say comma, and then put this one, and then close parentheses. So that's going to be the same formula, gives me the same amount. Okay? Now in G5, I want to add the amounts together for all three. So what I'm going to do is put this formula in and say equals G4 plus, minus the amount D5 plus E5. So when I do that and I hit enter, notice I've got the two columns are highlighted together. That indicates whatever is going to be with the G4 above it is going to be less the amount in the debit and added with the credit. So when I hit this, it's still the same amount, but now when I go to my debit, which this is the first check that I'm writing, it's check 100, and then I put in the date, 2/1 of, I'm just going to say 2/1, and now it gives me the date formatted like I put it down there. Give the description, it's from the Shell Oil Company. Okay, and then I put in the amount, it's going to be in the debit, it's 42.64, and I hit enter. It should give me a dollar amount. Oh, not that much. I forgot to put my decimal in there. 64. Okay. Notice it took 42.64 to my balance. Okay. So what happens if I, with this column, put sum and then parentheses and then put close parentheses? Is it going to give me the same amount? Yeah, it sure did. Okay. So now I've got this formula in there. When I drag with my fill handle, it's going to do everything, all my math for me. So all I have to do now is input the data. My check 101, 101 was done on also the 1st of February. So I'm going to say 2/1, and that was for Pink Palace Entertainment. Uh-oh, it's too big. Again, I'm going to hit the column at the top here and say Format Autofit Column Width. So now I got everything in there. That needs to be there. So now, how much did I use? $87.34. 87.34. Hit enter. And then I'm going to put in I don't have any credit yet. So on the next one was cash. So I'm not going to put the check number. I'm just going to put the date, which was 2/4 of 92, or sorry, 2/4, okay, of 21. And then I'm going to put that as cash. And I'm going to put auto trailer in parentheses. And then in the next box, put $50. And then it's going to, watch what happens when I use the fill handle. When I drag it down, it's getting my amount. Now, I need to take this column out. I don't know why I put another column in here. I'm going to hit delete. And I got to do it again. Okay, now I got my amount, right? And then input the rest of the data. 102, check 102 was for Dr. Houston on the 6th of February of 21. So 2, 6, and then Dr. Houston, can put parentheses gift. And then I'm going to put the amount was for $75. I could just put 75 and it'd still make it the amount. We input the rest of the data. 103. Check 103 was done on 2/7/21. And that was for rent. And that was to the amount of $800. Actually, I think it's more like $1,500. And then I'm going to put on the next one, I'm going to have, I'm going to put no check, but it was 210. Big win at Pink Palace. And it was for the amount of $2,500 as a credit. Okay? And then on 104, check 104, I got into a fight and went to jail. Not really, y'all. This is just a play budget, but it's pretty funny. On 2/11, and I'm going to put bail. And it was for $500. Oop. Hit enter. And then I'm going to go, see, 105 was for an exterminator on the 12th of February. His name was Benny the Weasel. And that was for the amount of $3,200. And then finally, on 2/14, rainy day quarter fund. was to a credit to the amount of $500. So let me see how well this got balanced. Okay, when I click on the fill handle, remember it applies that same formula to the different cells that are going to be on the left-hand side of it. So when I scroll down here, oh, got an arrears. So if I want to format the column to say that in my amount in the currency, I'm going to put the negative cells like that. The negative numbers will be in the red. So that indicates that I'm in the red. Now I can fix this up really nice by clicking on the format, and I can change the format to fill it with the fill and say, let's do blue, maybe a light blue. And I can put in like a grid if I want to do over the whole thing like this. I'm going to highlight that and say format as a table. I could even do like stuff like that. I'm going to go down to format cells, and in a border, if I put like, let's do outline inside, and like that. So now I got a nice little balanced checkbook, or not balanced, I should say. But anyway, that's how you would make a checkbook with Excel. So anyway, there's a lot of different things that you can do. I haven't even begun to go over everything that's there, but that's all for today. And I sure hope that you learned something from this class. Please, y'all, drop me a line. My name is Jeff Conwill, and you can reach me up here at the Orange Grove Library, or drop me a line at g.conwill@harrison.lib.ms.us or librarydude1999@gmail.com. Thank you.